One of the greatest pains in life is constantly comparing yourself to others. We often wonder, why is she so successful and I'm not? But what we don't realize is that her journey and mine are not the same. Remember this: if a fish tries to fly like a bird, it will spend its whole life believing it's not good enough, even though it can swim across the vast ocean. Today, with social media everywhere, this habit of comparing ourselves has only grown worse. We see someone else's success and suddenly feel like our own life is too small. We forget about our own talents. And this way of thinking quietly pushes people into sadness and hopelessness. That's why today's story is for anyone who has ever thought, "I'll never be as good as them." Listen carefully, because every line of this story can change the way you think. Once, there was a small village near a town, and beside that village stretched a big, beautiful forest. In that village lived a boy named Ethan. He was kind and hardworking, but he carried one habit that always made him unhappy: he constantly compared himself to others. Whenever he saw his friend Liam scoring the best grades, Ethan thought, "I wish I was as smart as him." His neighbor Ryan was very rich, and Ethan would say to himself, "I wish I had his money." Even when he saw someone running fast, he thought, "Why can't I run like that?" These thoughts kept pulling Ethan deeper into sadness. He lost focus in his studies. He couldn't enjoy anything. All the time, he kept thinking, "I'll never be like them." One day, a wise old man visited the village. Everyone called him Grandpa Joe. He was known for his advice, and people loved listening to him. Ethan went to him and said, "Grandpa, I work very hard, but whenever I see others doing better, I feel sad. It feels like I'll never be like them." Grandpa Joe smiled and replied, "Tomorrow morning, meet me at the oldest tree in the village. There, you'll find your answer." The next morning, Ethan went to the tree, where Grandpa Joe was already waiting. He said, "Look around. What do you see?" Ethan looked carefully and said, "Grandpa, there are so many different trees. Some tall, some short. Some full of fruits, some without any." Grandpa Joe smiled and said, "Now imagine this apple tree saying, 'Why am I so short compared to the coconut tree?' Or the coconut tree saying, 'I wish I had sweet fruits like the apple tree.' How would that sound?" Ethan laughed and said, "That would sound really silly, Grandpa." Grandpa Joe nodded and asked, "Then tell me, how does this whole forest feel to you?" Ethan replied, "It feels peaceful and beautiful. Everything looks perfect." Grandpa Joe said, "That's exactly how life is. Every tree has its own special quality. Just like that, every person has different strengths. The apple tree gives sweet fruit. The coconut tree stands tall and strong. Both are different, but both are important." Then Grandpa Joe led Ethan to a pond. Fish were swimming in the water, and in the sky above, a bird was flying. Grandpa Joe said, "Now imagine if the fish said, 'I wish I could fly like that bird.' Would that make sense?" Ethan replied, "Not at all. Fish are made for swimming, and birds are made for flying." Grandpa Joe smiled softly and said, "Then why do you want to be like someone else? You too have your own path. You have strengths, maybe you just don't see them yet. Find them and move forward with them." After hearing these words, something changed in Ethan's heart. He finally understood, comparing yourself to others only leads to pain. From that day forward, he stopped comparing and began focusing on his own work and talents. Slowly, his confidence returned. Life began to feel exciting again. Years later, through his hard work, Ethan built his own business. He became an inspiration for his entire village. Whenever someone asked him, "How did you become so successful?" Ethan would smile and reply, "Never compare yourself with others. If a fish tries to fly, it will always feel like a failure. But if it focuses on swimming, it can conquer the whole ocean." Remember this, the sun and the moon don't shine together, but both are important. Find your path. Walk it in your own way. That is where real success begins. If you like this story, don't forget to give it a like and share it with others. I'll see you again with a new story.